Christ said, be patient. Say, Noni in the midst. I ain't got a penny pinch no more. Jabber my provider. Big door. Open a big door. Close if it ain't.
There has been a TikTok floating around talking about a Christian nightclub in LA, and the congregation is split.
I'm sorry, what's going on with the church? The presence of God is not a club. How foolish are people lately? The presence of God does not compromise anything.
Late night Christian clubs? What's wrong with that? I had a young adult ministry and we used to have an after party and we would show up like 120 deep to Papados and just take over the whole thing. Like young adults, they want to hang out. That's what young adults want to do. If somebody's giving them an alternative to like going to an actual club, I don't see what the big deal is.
What's going on, everybody? It's Michael, host of the Worship Warrior podcast, a Christian podcast where my wife and I talk about all things related to Christianity, using our real-life experiences to be transparent and completely honest. But that's not why we're here today. Today, I wanted to hop on and bring a little commentary to what's been going on online. And this was more popular a few months back, but I am a little late to the game. We're trying to get better at doing that, but hey, life gets busy, things get in the way, but we're going to do this, and I'm not going to let this just slide off my radar because I do have some thoughts on it.
God told me and my husband to create the very first Christian nightclub here in LA. Right now, Christians have nowhere to have fun. Like, we not going to normal clubs. We not going to bars. We ain't going to parties.
Now, after watching this, you're bound to have two immediate reactions. Either you absolutely hate this, or you're thinking this is a great idea. Now, whatever that immediate reaction was, I challenge you to disband it for a second and really dive into what's happening here so we can all form a better conclusive opinion on the matter. So, what is a Christian nightclub? Well, from what I've gathered, it seems to simply be a club for Christians, a place where younglings can gather and have clean, wholesome fun. Of course, this brings in a load of questions, rightfully so. Mainly boiling down to, is this a fruitful experience for Christians to participate in? Because remember, not everything that we do is fruitful, right? That's what it says in the Bible. Or not everything is good for us, even though we can do it. And what would even be the benefit of having something like this in the first place? So let's dive into the product here and get more understanding. Now, I've never attended one of these nightclubs, as I don't believe there are any near us. I think it's only in LA right now. So let's look at this clip of someone who has supposedly been there. So from that clip, I believe they are not fabricating the content of the club. It seems like a pretty good time. Although I don't know if I'd attend personally, simply because I hate large gatherings to begin with, and I've never liked nightclubs at all. So not really the target audience, I don't think. But I am a sucker for a good concert. And that got me thinking, how is this different from a Christian concert? Now, if you've seen the channel before, you know I'm a musician. So that's more of what I can speak to in situations like this. And I'll say that nobody seems to bat an eye at Christians gathering to see people like Chris Tomlin, Toby Mac, or Mercy Me, even though they have a very similar concept. So this isn't a new concept, right? And I've seen people say things like, well, back in my day, we just had church and that's it. But that's not true. Christians have already taken things like secular concerts and have made them Christian. Furthermore, Christian gatherings are held all the time at bowling alleys, dance halls, and more. Which leads me to believe a big problem people have with this is the marketing. I think the use of the word nightclub is what turns a lot of Christians off right away, because we associate these things with activities like alcohol, secular music, and sex outside of marriage, which is understandable. In contrast, a concert by Chris Tomlin is associated with family, love, and harmony. The creators could have opened up this establishment and called it something like Christian Social, Christian gathering, or just called it a youth event because nobody seems to question those. However, the use of the word nightclub is just catchier, which leads me to want to question the true motives behind it. Obviously, it was called this to get the attention of us and go viral, and it has certainly worked.
Bro, I cannot believe this. Guys, our Christian nightclub is going viral on Twitter with over 11 million views. What? The response is actually hilarious because a lot of people watching it aren't Christians and they actually make really, really funny jokes. I'm not going to hold you.
Now, there's nothing inherently wrong with that. Businesses do it all the time. YouTube videos are clickbaity all the time. I don't see anything wrong with that. That's just how the world works. You have to grab attention. However, my biggest issue stems from the first sentence of the video.
God told me and my husband to create the very first Christian nightclub here in LA.
Christians claiming God told them to do something is way too common nowadays and can't be the explanation for every new business venture. It just seems a little scammy. Like they are trying to manipulate Christians into thinking they are called by God to open this nightclub. So you should go and give them money and pay attention to them because it's for God. Now, again, I don't think there's anything wrong with opening up Christian businesses. It's America, dude. Do your thing, right? But there's a difference between starting a venture because you want to and starting a venture in God's name because he told you directly to do this. I don't know them at all, but that is a very serious claim that shouldn't just be thrown around. For example, my family and I have started a Christian band. I didn't go out and say that we did this because God talked to me in my dreams, right? Or that I saw a big picture in the sky or something. No, this is something we wanted to do. As an artist, I truly am just led to create Christian music. It's just what I naturally write, and it's what I like playing. We started this band because we want to and because we all have the gift of music. Now, I also think it's different to say, God gave me the gift of music, so I'm choosing to use that gift and start a Christian band. Or God calls us to become disciples and spread his message. So I'm choosing to use my gifts in music to do that. God doesn't have to directly say, do this thing, but you can take the context of the Bible and the things you're called to do and put your own spin on it. That's totally fine. I think if the creators would have come out and said it a bit differently, like, we wanted to create a space for Christians to gather and have a good time, listening to Christian music and fellowshipping together, because we found that there's not a space for that yet, then I think this message becomes more rooted in what God actually calls us to do rather than manipulative and shady. Now, the next thing I saw people saying was that this is basically church and you should just go to church. But there are plenty of businesses run by Christians who aren't holding church services. When's the last time you went to a Chick-fil-A and got baptized after you ate? You don't need to have a service. That is what church is for. This seems more like an entertainment place where young Christians can just hang out and have fun, and I think that would be awesome. What's wrong with going to church and then afterwards going to a little non-alcoholic bar with your friends to have some fun and dance? You can combine the two. It doesn't have to be one or the other, which is where I think that argument falls a little bit. Of course, temptation will be present, and with so much dancing, this could lead to some hookups and sinful behavior. Of course, that's totally possible. And that's something that you should be wary of, but that shouldn't mean we just say no to the whole idea. That would be like saying, well, driving is dangerous. It could lead to wrecks, so no more driving forever. If you're a bad driver, don't drive. If you're dealing with temptations around sex, don't go to this. But just banning the concept altogether, while some people may not be struggling with these things, seems to be a little bit of an overreaction. And if you think temptation doesn't exist in the church, well, watch our podcast episodes and we'll tell you that that's not exactly true. But then the next question becomes, is this even needed in the Christian community? Well, I'm going to give my opinion, but of course, this is totally subjective to everybody. I think it is. Again, as a musician, I would love more places to play Christian music. The sad reality is that the underground Christian music scene is barely known and hard to break into, much harder than the secular music scene. Your places to play are typically limited to churches and youth events, and if you're not a pop Christian artist. A lot of us musicians just want to make a reasonable living doing what we love in environments that encourage godly behavior. As someone who has been on the secular music scene for a while now, I can say that they are beating us in terms of reasonable wages and opportunities for young artists, and that is heartbreaking. So if these venues opening up gave opportunity for honest work as artists and also provided clean fun for young Christian youth, I believe the good outweighs the bad. I don't know if I'd fully endorse a Christian quote-unquote club, but at least Christian venues where live music and dancing could be more normalized could be a good thing. I'll end with this. I think it's a pretty good idea that just needs to be worked out a little bit more. This seems more like a gray personal area decision for you to make on if you would attend something like this, and that's totally fine. I myself am going to also do some more research and pray on this topic to get even more understanding. And that's all we really can do, and that's all I encourage everyone to do, and keep that skepticism, whatever side you fell on, because that's good. It's good to dive into this and truly ask the hard questions and get to the root of this. Pray about it, read about it, and never stop learning, and you will know what is best for you. So thank you for watching. Catch us on the next episode of Worship Warrior. Even though this wasn't really an episode, this was me just talking, giving commentary. And let me know if you like this style, and we'll definitely do more of it. All right, peace.